Good afternoon, people of my heart, folks and folkettes who still have the patience to watch me. This is going to be part two of the exclusive and limited three-part series, my Sourpuss Olympic Thoughts and S'mores. And this part two is dedicated to Marta and her GOATness. Okay, so Marta is the queen of soccer, just like Pelé is the king. That's a statement that I think even international media kind of picked up on. There is an article circulating, and there is a case to be made that Marta isn't the greatest because other players accomplished more internationally and nationally than Marta did. But no player has her accolades, no player has her number of golden boots, Ballon d'Ors, which is best player of the world, elected 6 times. Um, she's the greatest scorer in the Brazilian national team. She's one of the greatest scorers in the sport in general. She's sitting atop there, and she's sitting very easily and tranquil. One of the articles that said that obviously Marta is not a queen, and that's a truth that other people don't want to swallow, which is an American article. Wanted to, basically, first of all, miscounted a number of times that she was elected best of the world, which was 6 and not 5, as the article says, and wanted Mia Hamm, a fair candidate, to be the actual GOAT. Whatever it is, to me, Marta is the GOAT. There are reasons for that, and I'm going to talk about those reasons right now. Marta played her last Olympic Games at age 38. She started at age 14 when she got an exception to play for Vasco da Gama, a team in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The women's league in Brazil was depleted. There was no money in it. There was nothing to do in it. So she immediately went to Sweden, and with different teams, she's won several championships. But just with that team that took her up, she's won 7 championships alone, starting at the age of 13, started playing at the age of 13, getting her first championship at the age of 14, and getting other championships along the way. She was UEFA Champions League in 2003 and 4. She was 14 years old. Supercopa, Sweden Super Cup, 2003-4. She was also 14 years old. The Swedish League in 2005, 6, 7, and 8, from ages 15 to 18, and the Swedish Cup at age 17 in 2007. And she still got regular season wins in the United States with LA Sol, which was an extinct league of the women's league in the United States. She won the regular season again with FC Gold Pride, and again with Western New York Flash. And then basically, she has many MVPs and accolades and prizes and golden boots that she gotten also in the United States. That's why when it comes to the United States, in terms of the development of the world soccer, the United States is a place that needs to be thanked, because this is a place where, football, right, the NFL, is for men and soccer is for women. And the truth is that did women a great favor, because as we're going to talk again and later on in part 3, there is a difference in the type of structure that you put, not in the money necessarily, but in the type of structure where you start playing and how you start playing the sport, and how that is going to impact how many medals you're going to get in the Olympics, right? And the preference in terms of the variety of sports, what we have in the United States. So I do have to thank the United States for that. And also, I don't know if any player has been as influential as Marta in her segment of her sport. Like I said, there was no league when she played first. When she came back and played for Santos and won the Santos as the National League and the Libertadores, the South American Championship, there already was structure. And nowadays, that structure basically exists, and it's very important to mention it, which we're going to important a little bit later today. Basically, when I say that Brazil and the United States, when they come to the finals in those competitions, the World Cup and the Olympics, it's a win-win for me. But I just say that. I don't mean it. The truth is that for me, I always want Brazil to win. But I respect the United States when it comes to soccer a lot, because they are the GOATs. They are the best, in my opinion, in the world, better than Spain. I think Spain was kind of a freakish situation, but it's a very young team in terms of when they started to play as well. Because basically what people have to understand is that unlike the United States, which already has a lot of sexism, there is a lot more sexism in South America, and there is a lot more sexism in Latin countries. So basically, Italy and Spain, those are incredibly sexist, and as it pertains to how they accept women's sports versus men's sports, there is a huge difference. There is a huge difference in the United States as well. Just look at the WNBA, which is, by the way, growing exponentially and more than the NBA did in the same amount of time. Okay, now Marta started her career again, right, at 14, and she already looked old when she first played her first Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. It was in 2008, but I may be mistaken about that. But she already looked old, and she was like 18, 22 years old the second time that she played in the Olympics. But she's never netted gold. She went to the finals of the Olympics 3 times, and she got those 3 times against the United States, and those 3 times the team got silver. And this was the last time. This was the third time. 20 years, almost 20 years since the last time that they played. And that just goes to show how much um, I think that she deserved that gold medal more than everybody else, than anybody else. And I was sad when she lost it. But I also recognize the greatness of the American team. And Brazil lost in a detail. It was a great game. There's nothing to be said of about, basically when we look at the situation. And I do want to thank Marta because of everything that she did. And I know that a lot of U.S. players are also grateful for Marta because Marta did influence the sport a lot in the United States. She wasn't the one that scored the most goals in almost every team that she participated for no reason. In her prime, she's as good to watch as any of the greatest in the men's side. Um, and right now, because of Marta, because of Marta, we can look at the structure of the Brazilian women league and see, oh my God, there's just so many people worth watching, and there's so many Brazilian players that can carry that torch and can eventually bring a gold. Just like Daiane dos Santos for gymnastics wasn't able to get a gold, but the next generation, Rebecca Andrade, was able to get a gold. And over, again, Simone Biles, which is no easy achievement, which Simone Biles always said, I hate competing against Rebecca because she's always so close. It's always so tense. But now that Simone Biles finally retired, and Rebecca Andrade also inevitably likely retired as well. You can definitely say Simone Biles was one of the freaks of nature, like we said, but Rebecca Andrade was also, and that was a great thing. In my team in the women's league in Brazil, we have lots of great players, such as Gabi Portillo, the second striker and a great striker in this national team. Jennifer, another midfielder, attacker, I guess, right? Midfielder forward. Gabi Nunes, Tamiris, Yasmin, Duda Sampaio, and Yaya, right? Again, that's her nickname. All in the midfield, defense, wings. And Corinthians has been leading. Corinthians, my team, has been leading recent rank competitions. But you also have great players, that come from other players, such as, for example, Lorena Silva from Grêmio, the goalkeeper. I think she deserves, a great nod. Ludmila from the Chicago Red Stars, she deserves a great nod. And hopefully, at some point, they're going to bring gold to Brazil. Marta was actually very criticized because she always cried and asked for more support from the Brazilian government. And there were governments that supported sports more, and there were governments that did not support sports at all. And now, when it comes to men soccer, I don't think that there is an athlete in the world in other sports that can make the same as great athletes in soccer, right? As much as the greatest NBA contract is because of NBA rules, because of cap spaces, taxation, etc., etc., the types of contracts that they offer people like Neymar, like they offered Neymar specifically because he kind of broke the market, but it didn't break the market by much. It is by much, but if you think about the ridiculousness of their contracts in the hundreds of millions for 3-4 years, you'd see, okay, yeah, it broke the market because they offered like 50 million more than what they would normally offer someone like Messi, someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. All of them broke the market. And when you have so much money in any kind of negotiation, there is always a lot of rot included. But regardless, Neymar had the potential of being the best in the world, And he ended up just being this guy that is mostly active off the field than on the field. And on the field, he either gets injured when it matters or he falls down. Neymar does have a gold medal, and there is a segment in Brazil right now that is criticizing Marta and that was rooting against Marta getting a gold in Brazil because we elevate Marta to such a level that Neymar was never elevated because Neymar doesn't deserve it. Neymar was never elected the best player in the world, and it wasn't just because there was Messi. He wasn't even a runner-up in most cases. He wasn't even in third place in most cases, and he won gold because in men's soccer there is a rule. Only the U23, meaning players under up to the age of 23 years old, are allowed to play. And about 3 players, I think, over the age of 23 can play, which is the case of Neymar. Neymar was over 23 when he played the Olympics. And if you watch the Olympics and the games, you'll see that the refs helped Brazil a lot. And that was in Brazil. And that's the only gold that we got because, as Pelé himself said, Pelé was not allowed to play in the Olympics because at his time, professional players could not play in the men's Olympics. With women, when they play, they face the best of the best. There's no U23 thing. Brazil played against the World Cup winner, Spain, and humiliated them with a 4-2 win. That's basically what you're facing up against. That's what the U.S. women were facing up against, and that's how they came up to being gold medalists. Congratulations for you. I didn't want you to win this time, but that's fine. That is a part that I 100% accept because I also have gratitude toward U.S. women soccer, right? There is a lot of inequality. I understand that, and we're still going to talk about that a little bit later. But regardless, I just really wanted to say obrigado, Marta. Thank you, Marta, for everything you've done. I know that lots of women are going to thank you forever for their daughters' lives, for their granddaughters' lives, for everything that you've done for the sport, and for the women role in the sports, and how you convinced even a guy like me to watch women play soccer, which is a completely different style in many ways, but it's just not. It's not. It's just like in volleyball. When you watch the men and the women play, it's very small differences in style, but the idea is still there. The energy is still there. Same thing can be said of soccer, especially when you watch Marta play and you watch players like Formiga in the past play. When you watch players today like Gabi Porcillo or Ludmila play today. In any case, obrigado, Marta. Thank you, Marta. It was a pleasure having lived in a time where Marta played. I watched the GOAT. I wasn't able to watch the GOAT in men's soccer, which is Pelé, unarguable. I don't want to talk about that, but I did watch Marta. Thank you, Marta. Marta. I know I'll watch you a little bit more, but thank you for everything you've done. And we'll bring, I know that those women that were modeled with you, by you, along and grew up with you, are going to bring you and bring Brazil that gold at some point. Thank you, Marta.